Kendall here. Just a side note, my first little baby, she's 2, she's napping, and my almost 1 month old is having a nap as well. So we'll see how much of this I get filmed before one of them decides to wake up. I'm going to be looking at my notes here. Today I wanted to talk about breastfeeding, and the reason I wanted to share my story is because when I was going through some of the things I went through, I was looking for other people on YouTube who had similar experiences to get encouragement from them, and I didn't find anything specific to what I was going to talk about with you guys. So the main things I want to talk about are the fact that I used a nipple shield with my first daughter all the way through, and I breastfed her for 18 months. And I had a feeling I was going to need it again with my second child, my little boy. And so far, it's been almost a month, and so far I haven't needed to, and things are going well. So I wanted to share my experiences with the nipple shield and why I had to use one, and then the encouragement and hope that if you used it for one child, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it for all of your children. So my first daughter, she latched right away in the hospital, and I knew what the good latch was supposed to look like, but I didn't know what it was supposed to feel like. Being a first-time mom, you're told that breastfeeding hurts for the first few weeks or the first month, and that you just need to get through that. And so I had quite a bit of pain, but the latch looked okay, and my midwives and doula verified that the latch looked okay. And so I was just I thought, okay, this is just the pain I'm supposed to be experiencing. But in the end, after about a week, my nipples were quite cracked and had scabs on them, and I ended up, because of that, developing mastitis. I had red blotches on my chest and breasts, and my midwives at the 1 week visit verified that yes, it was mastitis. So I had to go on medication for that, antibiotics, and so because of that, I was told to try and let my nipples heal. So I had a breast pump, but from using it every few hours, it ended up dying. It wasn't a very good one. So we had to rent a breast pump from the hospital, which was much better. I actually recommend that to people if you're needing a breast pump for an intensive period like that. The breast pumps from the hospital are actually a lot more heavy duty. And so, I mean, during this time, the mastitis makes you feel feverish symptoms. You're not feeling well. You're sleep deprived. You have a 1-week-old baby. And I was researching bottles online. I didn't have any bottles because my plan was to breastfeed. So I actually found a bottle called Breast Flow on Amazon that we ordered because it's a good bottle for transitioning from the bottle to the breast, because my biggest fear was nipple confusion, and that once I gave my daughter a fast-flowing bottle that she didn't have to work to suck the milk out of, that she wouldn't go back to the breast once I had healed and gotten over the mastitis. So those bottles worked great. She took them quite well, and the baby does have to suck to get the milk to come out of it, so it's a better transition back to the breast. And then for about a week, I pumped to let my nipples heal. So during this time, my doula texted me to check in with how I was doing, and she said, I'm coming over and I'm going to check the baby's latch, and we're going to see if we can get this breastfeeding back up and going. So that was good. I felt encouraged that someone was going to help me come and help me have a second try at the breastfeeding thing. So she came over, she put a glove on her hand, and she put it in my daughter's mouth, and discovered that she had quite a shallow suck. She was not pulling my doula's finger back deep enough into her mouth. And on top of that, my nipples are quite small, which I was concerned with in the first place, even being able to breastfeed. And I assumed that was the problem I was having. But it ended up being that it was both of those things combined together, the shallow suck and the small nipples. So she had a breast shield with her, a nipple shield. And she said, this will help your nipples heal as well as stop you from this crazy amount of pumping that you're doing. And hopefully it's a short-term solution. Possibly once my daughter got older, she thought she'd have that stronger suck and would be able to pull my nipple far enough back into her mouth to stop causing the damage. So I felt a little bit defeated because I had heard, of course, first of all, I'm already pumping, using bottles, had mastitis. It's just one layer on top of the other of feeling defeated and feeling like you're not going to have the breastfeeding experience you want for yourself and your child. So on top of that, I had heard negative things about the Nipple Sheild, that they can harm your milk supply, that the baby gets too used to a large nipple and can't go back to the regular breast. And so I was really concerned about them, but it was kind of my only option. And so one thing I just wanted to tell people, ladies out there, is that for me, they're so thin now. I think the fear surrounding Nipple Shields might have been more so the older style Nipple Shield that was quite thick silicone, and these are very, very clear plastic, thin, and a lot of them even have a little divot at the top so that the baby's nose still touches your breast, and basically it doesn't feel like anything's even there, and it did not harm my milk supply in any way. So I'm obviously not a professional and I can't speak for everyone, but this is just my experience, and so I just wanted to encourage women out there that have just realized they need a Nipple Shield, or just to kind of take the stigma away from them a little bit, because if they're your only source for being able to breastfeed your child, that's so much better than not being able to. So they were a lifesaver in that case. So fast forward to having my son 2 years later, I was going to give it a really good shot, natural breastfeeding without the Nipple Shield, but I didn't have much hope. My nipples had changed quite a bit from breastfeeding my daughter for 18 months. They were stronger, bigger, that kind of thing. But I just, again, kind of braced myself thinking I'll probably need to use the Nipple Shield again. So I had it all packed and ready to take to the hospital. So my son, of course, latched great at the hospital, and I was happy for that. And I just kept going. I just kept saying, okay, it seems to be going okay. There was a little bit of pain, a little bit of tenderness, but I think that was just due to getting him to latch properly for himself. But it's been almost a month now, and I haven't needed to use the breast shield, or the Nipple Shield. So his tongue, I noticed a difference. It's long and slender. My daughter's was more wide and short. So whether that helps him take the nipple in deeper, and the fact that my nipples are a little bit different than they were the first time around. So I'm really happy about that. Not that the Nipple Shield was horrible, it was just a pain to remember it. If we forgot it, there was often times we'd be searching around the drugstores and the Toys R Us for one, and it just wasn't as carefree and easy, and it's nice to be able to do it naturally, just to have the baby fully on your breast with nothing else. So I just wanted to give encouragement that for me, I was able to breastfeed my daughter successfully for 18 months with the Nipple Shield, with no supply issues, and then on top of that, I was able to successfully breastfeed my second son without one. So things do change, babies are different, things like that. So hopefully that story helps you guys if you're going through any of the same issues, or if you're currently pregnant and wondering, will I be able to breastfeed my next child potentially without using a Nipple Shield if I've used one in the past, and to hopefully get some of the stigma around the Nipple Shield, just to give my experience. A lot of times when you're looking it up, you get the professional's opinion that it's best not to use one, but if you have to, here's some of the issues that it could cause. That's kind of the thing I was finding when I started having to use one, and so hopefully it's encouraging to hear someone who successfully used one and was able to then breastfeed instead of pump, or needing to resort to formula eventually. So they help if you need them. They're a great resource for enabling women who can't breastfeed to breastfeed. So let me know if you have any questions about my experience, and thanks for listening. Talk to you later.